A very good evening and a warm welcome to our second edition of UBC News Tonight on this 15th day of May 2025. I'm Lauryn Masika Kazimoto. We do welcome you this evening. Now we start off with a headlining story this evening. President Museveni has applauded beneficiaries of the parish development model who have invested their funds wisely. Museveni, who met some of the beneficiaries on Thursday as he kicked off his PDM zonal tours in the Toro sub-region, said that those who have made productive use of their funds will become part of the nation's wealth creators. Take a look.
Deo Katuramu, 44, is among the standout performers of the Paris development model, recognized by President Museveni and the First Lady Janet Museveni. Formerly a taxi driver, Katuramu invested his 1 million shillings PDM fund into piggery farming. He used a portion of the money to purchase 3 piglets, while the rest went into feeding them and constructing a modest shelter. Over time, the pigs multiplied. He later sold some and used the proceeds to buy a cow worth 1.2 million shillings while still keeping 2 pigs, which have since produced over 10 piglets. In addition, he has expanded his venture to include a banana plantation. Katuramu now hopes to become a model farmer in Chakahinda, a village, Bunyangabu district. While visiting the farm during the ongoing Toro tour, President Museveni commended Katuramu for using the PDM funds effectively.
Nabo icyo nsemerero okurora ngo kana akabazi akuturesere muketegereze mwakamanye urura akabazi ka miliyonemu okujuna omuntu miliyonemu hari nyowe na mama na kantu katoito muno.
Museveni, visibly impressed, said if all beneficiaries utilize the funds in a similar manner, it would mark a strong starting point for meaningful development.
Taxi akatasabora kujja kugaruka hano mu cyaro abuzira akantu kwaragaruka akana gonza garuka konga teno kwaragaruka ati miliyonemu yagule empunu nizara muno yatunda yihamu orugonjo yasimba orugonjo.
The First Lady highlighted the NRM government's unique commitment to grassroots empowerment. The Deputy Speaker Thomas Tayebwa and ICT Minister Chris Baryomusi remarked that time will reveal the success of the PDM, proving critics wrong.
If we just follow what is the newspapers, you know what the elite say, it's as if the little money we are giving to these people doesn't mean this much. But when you come and you interact with them, you see where they've come from. A very good example, Mr. Katuramu here was a taxi driver.
But now the flagship program for government is to see how to empower the local population to get out of poverty, to get out of subsistence and go into the money economy. And that's why this program of PDM and the Myoga and others were designed.
Bunyangabu district is reportedly among the top 40 districts in PDM performance. Area leaders attributed this success to the dedication and commitment of the local communities.
But the success is bigger, and what we expect, because from zero, someone who has been having completely nothing, and you are given 1 million from 1 million you become something. Actually, the NRM government is doing good work.
This man struggled so hard to make sure that he maintains that capital that he got. He first bought 3 piglets. Finally, they produced piglets. He sold them, and finally bought a cow. Now the cow is pregnant. It has lifted their livelihoods. If you visit homes that benefited from parish development model, you would see some light. There are very many examples who are even better off than Katuramu. There are many, but
Philip Agut and Stephen Kalisia for UBC News in Bunyangabu.
President Yoweri Museveni and the First Lady Janet Kataha Museveni have visited the Akorinako family mixed farm in Kamwenge district as part of the President's Wealth Creation campaign in the Toro sub-region. Now, the model farm is owned by former District Inspector of Schools, Akorinako Julius, who transitioned into farming and now grows coffee, bananas, mangoes, and rears goats.
Deep in the village of Lyamugonera, Rwenkoba ward in Kibali County, Kamwenge district, lives a seasoned farmer named Akorinako Julius.
Started this coffee farming seriously in 2019, and I was seriously inspired by His Excellency the President when he was talking of 4-acre model.
Akorinako is a former district inspector of schools in Kamwenge district who left former employment in 2017 upon reaching the retirement age.
The President had always told us whenever he would come to Kamwenge on a Friday, he would tell us, you people of Kamwenge, what happened to you with the, where you get, how do you come that you got married with the maize growing? That you will never come out of poverty if you continue with the maize growing.
Although he initially ventured into maize growing after retirement, the venture did not yield expected results for nearly 2 years, prompting him to explore other agricultural options.
I have 4 major enterprises, coffee, bananas, goats with pasture, and then mangoes. And all of them are integrated in one way or the other. The goats are giving me a lot of manure to supply to the bananas.
His persistence and innovation in farming led to a great transformation, so much so that he was selected to host the President of Uganda at his farm as part of the Toro sub-region Wealth Creation Tour.
In a year, like 2024, I found that with the coffee, for this mature coffee of 6 acres, and the total sum it was 40 million. That was net.
Atijumburu bugiga tukwerecha ahubwo nko wanje ukoko mukiyanga naki ito tukatu ryo kwito tujaba waraji ninjuka 2016 yaje tayibwa abantu kuba kugikora nikwe bakuginya hatwamhurikiriza intocho twazitema twazomwana
nyina kugambira muzingu kwihobo twe nabebembezi biti bedina bakugambira ensege kahinduka evaro bitu nibitwereka ngo maki 10 amakamu kaga kaino mwani.
In a short span of time, Akorinako has successfully established a thriving enterprise, rearing goats and cultivating coffee, bananas and mangoes, earning recognition as a model farmer in Kamwenge district.
President okuzumbyaro kutayayira amakaga abantu kugamba n'emirimo yabo n'ekibakozire obuyambi bwa gavumenti nyo nimanya ngu n'ekintu kisi mu Africa ekyaba abebembezi bashemerere kwehuriza really.
Having served for over 22 years in public service, Akorinako now humorously reflects on his past career, expressing some regret for not starting farming earlier.
In fact, I wish I had retired a bit longer, even when I was stronger, because now my life is more stable, more enjoyable, quite relaxed, and the income is definitely. I had never got to, let's say, $1 million on my account.
Mbona ho tukureba no mboma ishu ati owese abebembezi excellency president right honorable ebitin sabyo bishira ho honorable bona nempumi bebembere mpumi abeka tsana ho bejabaza ho no bashabira obworo omugisha obworo bashabira omugisha mu izina rya Patri n'irya Mwana obworo mbugumaho egine nshobe y'amani.
President Museveni was accompanied by the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Right Honorable Thomas Taiba, Ministers Dr. Christopher Yumusi and Frank Tumwebazi, as well as State House Controller Jane Barichi.
Simarhanga munonga kandi nimpamya nimwe abantu kumukwetegereza ikintu eki mwakore eki emirimo yi government eri kubakwatsa n'ogwesugwa mwamaye ngu nimwe mwine omurimo kureba ngu mwimutse ekyaro kyanyu twena twimutse ihanga ryaitu
tunayizera akamwenye na y'abantu turahinga ebicori murahinga ebicori kumwabihinga mwine hika zinga nyine hiki ibiri.
He is currently on a wealth creation campaign in the Torres region, where he will also chair the Regional Leaders Conference and commission a skilling hub. Robert Nyango, UBC News.
Now, President Yoweri Museveni has announced an increase in government funding for road safety campaigns through the Ministry of Works and Transport, aimed at reducing the rising road carnage in Uganda. The funding will support infrastructure improvements such as pedestrian walkways, law enforcement, education campaigns and emergency services. Now, speaking through the Vice President, Jessica Lupo, at the Road Safety Conference held at Speak Resort Munyonyo on the 14th of May 2025, Museveni noted that road accidents, particularly border related, claim thousands of lives annually, including 2 school children daily. He emphasized the importance of mass sensitization and enforcement of traffic regulations, aligning with the National Road Safety Action Plan 2021-2026, which targets a 25% reduction in road accidents by 2026-27 and 50% by 2030. Now, the Minister of Works and Transport, General Edward Katumba Wamala, stressed that 14 lives are lost daily in road crashes and called for enhanced community engagement and education through local committees. He launched a guide for establishing safe school zones aligned with national transport policies and emphasized respect for road signs as key to reducing accidents.
Ministry of Works and Transport, alongside Road Safety Coalition Uganda, for organizing the Road Safety Conference 2025. Major projects like the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway, Gulu-Atiak-Nimule Road, oil roads in the Albertine region, and the Ginger Nile Bridge have significantly improved connectivity, linking all the major towns and the border points. These roads support internal trade and integration under frameworks such as the East African Community, COMESA, and the African Continental Free Trade Area. However, it is sad to note that with increased accessibility, the road accidents have increased, resulting in loss of lives and injuries. This is on the account of inadequate safety awareness and the indisciplined border crashes. In order to reverse this bad situation, it is important to prioritize awareness campaigns aimed at promoting responsible road use. Under the National Road Safety Action Plan 2021-2026, government is aiming at reducing road fatalities and injuries by 25% by the financial year 26-27, thus reaffirming our commitment to reducing road crash death and serious injuries by 50% by 2030. This plan targets 5 key areas of action: road safety management, safer roads, safer vehicles, safer road users, and post-crash response. Government also is committed to increasing financing for road safety. This includes funding infrastructure like pedestrian facilities, law enforcement capacity, education campaigns, and emergency medical services. Road safety is a necessity. Therefore, I urge all the stakeholders, i.e. the civil society, religious leaders, private sector, transporters, the public, etc., to amplify the message on road safety. Government will continue collaborating with all stakeholders to ensure that all road users travel safely. I thank you for your kind attention. This is a message of His Excellency, the President.
On these roads are a number of road signs and road instructions. The question is, how many of us talk back to the road? The road is talking to you. It is telling you this is 80 kilometers per hour, 40 kilometers per hour. How many of us talk back to the road? Most cases, we don't. Influencing road user behavior has a far-reaching effect to road discipline and road safety. This, however, is a collective responsibility. It is therefore a call for action and participation by the private sector to take interest in road safety through this conference.
Now, government is committed to the reduction of the domestic areas by a little over 3.8 trillion shillings by the end of the next financial year, 2025-26. 1.4 trillion shillings has been earmarked in the forthcoming budget to cater for the massless domestic areas, which stood at 13.81 trillion shillings in the financial year 2023-2024. The Parliamentary Committee on Finance, Planning and Economic Development has tasked government to sanction accounting officers who perpetually commit government expenditure outside the approved budget. We have more.
Get a pronouncement. The final resource envelope for the next financial year 2025-2026 amounts to 72.376 trillion shillings after corrigenda to the draft estimates of shillings 419.860 billion.
Coffee seedlings to northern Uganda, Uganda shillings 60 billion. This is the very first time. So northern Uganda has to embrace coffee production and enhance the economy of Uganda. For Uganda shillings 65.65 billion for construction and equipping of the Uganda Heart Institute. 42.14 billion towards infrastructure development at Uganda Cancer Institute.
The budget is mouth-watering as the energy sector gains a boost in the Funds for Electricity Access Scale-Up Project ESP and the rural electrification and connectivity across the country. 346.42 billion shillings has been earmarked for the ESP and 165.29 billion shillings for the enhancement of the rural electrification across the country.
Number C, Uganda actually 34.84 billion towards Karuma Hydropower Project. D, 26 billion towards Orio Mini Hydro Project and Rural Electricity Project. E, 165.29 billion towards enhanced rural electrification and connectivity across the country. F, 21.79 billion towards construction of 400 kV Karuma Tororo transmission line.
A provision of shillings 24.1 billion has been allocated for primary education materials as efforts to reduce the pupil to textbook ratio from 1 to 17 to 1 to 12.
Any reduction in this budget will negatively impact on the availability of textbooks, thereby hindering learning outcomes.
Government is committed to the reduction of the domestic areas by 3.854 trillion shillings by the end of the next financial year 2025-2026. 1.4 trillion shillings has been earmarked in the forthcoming budget to cater for the massless domestic areas, which stood at 13.81 trillion shillings in the financial year 2023-2024, according to the Auditor General's report.
The increase in domestic areas was attributed to inadequate budgeting, cash flow constraints, and competing government demands.
Kira Municipality MP Ibrahim Semujunganda and the Leader of Opposition in Parliament Joel Senyonyi reiterated areas which have continuously been deemed as poor priorities of government.
Even if the allocations in the budget were to address the socio-economic challenges, financing the budget through reckless borrowing will cause the country even more pain.
But we don't want to pay those who have availed services to government. I don't see how that makes sense. You're giving free money to some companies. You're saying, well, they're about to collapse and so on. But these ones rendered the service.
Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gutabinji, UBC News.
Uganda Bureau of Statistics, UBOS, challenged Ugandans to take full advantage of government programs aimed at reducing poverty. Speaking at the launch of the 8th Uganda National Household Survey 2023-24 in Kampala today at Hotel Africana, Amos Lugolobi, Minister of State for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, noted that while poverty has declined from 20.3% to 16.1%, millions still struggle to meet the basic needs.
The report from the Uganda Bureau of Statistics for the National Household Survey results shows that about 7 million Ugandans live below the poverty line, 5.3 million in rural areas and 1.7 million in urban settings. Karamoja tops the list with a staggering 74.2% poverty rate.
16.1% of the total population that are below the poverty line translate to 7 million Ugandans. So nationally, we have 7 million Ugandans below the poverty line, and still the distribution in rural urban, many of them are in rural areas, 5.3 million, and in urban areas we have 1.7 million. Over 900,000 of the 7 million poor people who come from the 16.1% are from Karamoja region. Their poverty rate is 74.2.
During the launch of the UNHS at Hotel Africana, Amos Lugolobi, Minister of State for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, pointed to ongoing issues like school dropouts and underutilization of free education, urging parents and communities to act. However, he noted that while poverty has declined from 20.3% to 16.1%, millions still struggle to meet basic needs.
We experience challenges in terms of education. The high school dropout rate, the percentage that is actually going for primary education, and the situation is getting worse as we get into secondary school. The children who are supposed to be in secondary school can only be we are only experiencing a situation where only 26% enter secondary education. And this is very disturbing. We need to ensure that all these children graduate from primary to secondary. So there is a challenge which you need to address, both the government and the parents themselves, to ensure that these children take the opportunity granted by the government to get free education.
While reading the health report, Apio Sharon Basala, the head of Statistics Department at Uganda Bureau of Statistics, highlighted a rise in illness cases, with 21.2% of the population reporting being sick, up from 19.4% in the previous survey. Despite this, rural areas saw a slight drop in illness rates. The report also shows that there is a decline in people who get sick in rural areas compared to those in urban areas, with 20.6% in 2019 to 2020 to 19.2% in 2023 to 24.
And as we are all aware, our health strategic investment plan policy, that's what they look at. Every household should be within 5 kilometers from the health facility. And we are glad that 90% indeed are within that distance.
UBOS emphasized that the survey results must guide Uganda's next steps towards inclusive development.
Now, the Uganda National Household Survey is one of the Bureau's flagship surveys. It provides a comprehensive picture of the socio-economic well-being of our population, touching on critical dimensions such as poverty, health, education, employment, housing conditions, and access to public services. This data is indispensable for assessing the progress of our national development goals, including the parish development model.
Story compiled by Joseph Muyingo and Prosi Chontawaire for you.
Members on the Legal Committee of Parliament have questioned the intentions of the Political Parties and Organizations Amendment Bill 2025. The chairperson of the committee, Stephen Baka Mugabe, has urged the seconder, Yusuf Mutembule, also Member of Parliament for Bunyole East, who presented the objectives of the bill to the committee, to make more research on the amendment that seeks to condition funding to political parties.
Member of Parliament for Bunyore East, Yusuf Mutembule, Member of Parliament Lower Madi Okolo, Afidra Ronald, and the Executive Director for Inter-Party Organization for Dialogue have appeared before the Legal and Parliamentary Affairs to defend the Political Parties and Organizations Amendment Bill 2025. The bill aims at amending 3 sections of the Political Parties and Organizations Act 2005. MP Mutembule told the committee that the bill seeks to restrict government funding and other public resources provided to political parties and political organizations that are represented in Parliament to only those that are members of the National Consultative Forum and Inter-Party Organization for Dialogue.
The vision does not condition the funding on political parties and political organizations' commitment to the principles of 1. Tolerance, dialogue, and peaceful coexistence. To promote transparency, accountability, and equitable access to public funding among political actors, adherence to these democratic principles should be a prerequisite for accessing government funding. This will ensure that funds are used responsibly and effectively and accessed by political parties that have agreed to align with democratic values.
Talking about the 35 billion that is allocated to political parties in Parliament. This is a discussion that generated from the summit of 2018 in IPOD. Discussed again in 2019, actualized today.
The crusaders of the bill were questioned their motive.
So why are you trying to tag what is supposed to be very good to only a few?
Do you want to use the statute to force cooperation, that people must cooperate by force?
Object, what is the value addition of this particular piece of legislation?
And say people must be forced into a round table to dialogue, people must be forced into a round table to associate. You are offending the Constitution right away.
It's like you want to suffocate parties. We are in a democratic system, a democratic party, government. To me, this bill is not making any sense.
This bill also seeks to institutionalize Inter-Party Organization for Dialogue as an organ of the National Consultative Forum and also create another forum for non-represented political parties and organizations in Parliament. This irked the MPs as IPOD is a Netherlands-based organization that supports dialogue among political parties in Uganda.
Nationalizing IPOD will ensure that dialogue becomes a recognized and permanent feature of Uganda's governance architecture rather than a discretionary or ad hoc mechanism. This will embed political dialogue into the formal policy making and conflict prevention frameworks of the state.
We do understand that IPOD was established by, with the support from the Dutch. And over time, based on our history, it has achieved, in our view, the intended outcome. And that's why we are seeing democratization happening in place. And for sustainability, if now we have proposed this to be taken up.
If IPOD were to, for instance, be more effective, it would be much, much more effective when it is institutionalized. We've also had political parties that have come to us and said, but look, IPOD, you have this convening power. Why wouldn't you help us with the political parties that are, for instance, abrogating the code of conduct of political parties? Prevail over them.
Of course, you have highlighted that the interest was dialogue, peace, and democratic maturity. where there was dialogue, it was supposed to lead to peace and eventually democratic maturity. And why some parties were trying to pull out was because of lack of this.
Mutembule has assured members of the legal committee that the provision in the current law regarding leadership on the National Consultative Forum will remain after facing backlash. I'm Navka Farida and Gloria Guitabenji.
Well, UBC News Tonight takes a very short break, but return with more stories after these messages.
It's super fast internet. Oh, it's a super camera. It's a super battery.
Phone battery full.
Yeah, it's a super deal. Get the Capote Super from MTN now at a reduced initial deposit of only 49,000 shillings and pay the balance in Pola for as low as 833 shillings per day. Grab this Super Capote deal and get 2 GB of free MTN data every month for 8 months. Get the Capote Super now from any MTN shop countrywide. Everywhere you go, MTN. Regulated by UCC.
Amazina ganje ninyetekwa Seruhanga John Bosco ninduga mu district ya Rukungiri njo muhanguzi wa miliyoni 16 na Uganda National Rotary nzahangwire urwo mu kuzana star 278 ash ngafuna message erikweka njo muhanguzi nashemererwa konka nabaza kugira ngo nebi yabafere sente ziriyo zona bakaziteka ngo nazihangwire.
Uganda National Lottery. Dream, play, win.
Participants must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The Uganda National Lottery is operated by Ituba Uganda and regulated by the National Lotteries and Gaming Regulatory Board.
Are you a woman with a small-scale business with a dream of growing it to another level? The GROW Project is here to support you in realizing your dream.
The GROW Project is a government initiative implemented by the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development and Private Sector Foundation Uganda with support from the World Bank.
We support women-owned businesses across the country to gain hands-on and business management skills through training within your location, business financing through grants and affordable loans, and infrastructure in your areas of operation to enable you to increase your productivity.
If you have a business that makes sales of up to 800,000 Uganda shillings per month, the GROW Project has the tools and resources to help you succeed. For more information, contact your district or city GROW focal person or call our toll-free line on 0800 307 777 to learn more about how you can benefit from the GROW Project's services.
The GROW Project, empowering women economically, transforming communities.
All right, listen up. Colocate is on a mission. It makes our gums happy and our teeth strong. See? We're moving forward and making changes.
It's kind of a big thing.
Colgate Herbal uses traditional nature's herbs and combines it with Colgate Science for healthy gums and strong teeth. And we'll leave no smile behind.
Welcome back from that break. And now in more news this evening, the Allied Health Professionals Council has been tasked to tighten its grip on the registration and regulation of medical professionals to curb on emergency of quacks in the sector. Dr. Charles Olaro, the Director General, Health Services at the Ministry of Health, proposes that if possible, medical professionals should acquire dual licensing, especially for those interested in running private businesses alongside their employment.
Despite significant advancements in the country's healthcare landscape, statistics show that the General Services Index is at 59%, which is slightly above average. Whereas the private sector plays a significant role in ensuring increased access to healthcare for all, there are reports of mushrooming quack practitioners undermining these efforts.
We have had people who have never had even primary education
being called doctors in the community. And yet the public, because of sometimes the few failures in the government to provide all care, has resorted to going to these people because they have tended to be the first point of contact. They are available to them and they think they are helping them. The message to the public is that they are not helping them. They are actually doing them a disservice.
While launching its strategic plan for the year 2025-26, the Allied Health Professionals Council revealed that going regional with its operations is a top priority.
Many of the conditions that we are talking about, many of the divisions we are talking about, is as a result of delayed referrals from these unqualified people who are actually treating people in their small houses under trees, and everybody is being put on the IV ceftriaxone for no indication. You cannot be able to provide a service for what you have not trained in. So Council, in its strategy, is going to enforce and strengthen the inspection and regulation and the licensing of their professionals and follow up the people who are practicing are not qualified.
The chairperson, Allied Health Professionals Council, Professor John Charles Okiria, says this will go a long way in curbing quack practitioners, thereby promote access to quality health care. Speaking to members of the Allied Health Professionals Council, the newly appointed Director General Health Services at the Ministry of Health, Dr. Charles Olaro, first invited stakeholders to render him support in his new assignment before challenging the Council to tighten its grip on the registration of practitioners.
The role of the DG, yes, he definitely needs a team, and I'm looking at it, as I've told you, that it's a very strong, big workforce. So I want to appreciate for all the congratulatory messages which I've received, but my only ask to them that let each one individually and collectively be able to contribute to the health and the well-being of the population of this country.
Dr. Olaro also hinted on plans to regulate how far or close to government health facilities a private health establishment like pharmaceuticals and clinics should set up.
It's not that we don't recognize the role private sector plays, but we need that there should be regulations. So if you license facilities which are just a few meters from the health facility and which the workers are even health workers of that institution, then it constitutes a conflict of what? Of interest for government. So we are looking at it in the new guidelines. We will probably prescribe how far they should be able to be from what? Government facilities.
The Allied Health Professionals Council exists as a regulatory framework that ensures compliance with professional standards, ethics, and guidelines for allied health professionals. Maureen Babidie, Adia Nakuti for UBC.
Now, as Uganda prepares to commemorate the International Candlelight Memorial, a special day to remember loved ones who have passed away due to HIV and AIDS-related illnesses, health officials are calling on the public to take action. Edward Julius, a counsellor at the AIDS Information Centre, has urged Ugandans to prioritize their health by knowing their HIV status. Now, he emphasized that this begins with getting tested by a qualified and certified health professional. Julius warned that many people have been tested by unverified individuals, which may lead to inaccurate results and increased risk of spreading the virus. He made these remarks during a series of health camps organized for free HIV testing at Ntinda Market, Nakawa Market and City Square in Kampala.
We are here to commemorate the Candlelight Memorial, where we remember our loved ones who succumbed to HIV and AIDS-related diseases. So we are urging the communities, first and foremost, you have to know your status. Knowing your status means testing for HIV. If you test for HIV with a qualified and verified tester, very many people test HIV through unverified testers. But if you test HIV with verified testers, you're able to know your status, and prevention starts from there.
After testing using oral quick, your results always come back after 20 minutes, from 15 to 20 minutes. Know that you're negative, you will see one red bar line on the screen. Then when you're positive, there will come two red bars on it, and that's when you come to know that you're positive. Yeah. So at times there are some invalid kits that will show nothing after the 20 minutes of testing. My advice to the people in relationships is they should first test before going for any unfit.
Yourself without using blood. We have the oral quick HIV testing. You just swab it under your upper gum and your lower gum, and in 20 minutes, it gives you accurate results. So whoever is out there, my fellow Ugandans, let's join the efforts to end HIV by 2030.
One Mazhar, a Pakistani national, narrowly escaped severe harm on Wednesday after a phone he was repairing exploded right on his working table. Now, this shocking incident happened inside his shop at Sasakawa Plaza in downtown Kampala. Take a look.
The phone mechanic based in Sasakawa was working on a customer's phone when it suddenly exploded, sending a loud bang and flames into the air. The incident caused panic among fellow traders, with many expressing concern over the safety risks posed by the quality of electronics sector.
It happened in the hand. There was no cable was connected that you should have blame on the charger, or you should blame or something else, or electricity or fluctuation. You understand that? And I guarantee you, I got to know from the mechanics that the battery they are making, it's only one layer battery. If you compare to the other brands, which are standard brand, they don't produce this kind of batteries.
Mr. Ali Raza, a fellow phone dealer, pointed to the influx of substandard mobile phones as a growing hazard. He says many of these cheap phones lack proper quality checks. Their batteries swell or overheat once fully charged, especially when left plugged over the night.
You see, like expensive phone, they have a quality of one thing that when they reach to 100% automatically, they battery is the switch off, automatically they control. Now when this kind of phones, they reach 100%, we people leave them, it really, we forgot, some people we decide to leave under our pillow, but they don't know what they are facing it. It's a part of reality that we people in Africa, we don't care about the quality.
Phone experts warn that leaving such phones on charge overnight, often beside sleeping individuals, could lead to fatal consequences.
As a technician, us we can still survive because we have counters where we are working. It's very bad when you are on the bed, or when you are with cartons, or when you are with something, you know, like pillow. It can get fire and burnt, and things can be out of your control.
Traders are now calling for urgent government intervention to enforce strict quality control measures on imported mobile devices.
Actually, it is so sad, according to my experience. This is not a quality product. And remember, nowadays, even a younger, small age kids, they like to stay with their phones. Such kind of thing, if it is with a kid and such blast happens on the bed, it can burn the house.
I want to tell people to try to bring something good in Uganda. The thing they are bringing here, they are too low.
Crispus Arenitwe, UBC News.
Yeah, a word of caution: do not sleep with your phone under your pillow, next to you, or on your bed. Well, UBC News Tonight does continue with Uganda's digital infrastructure being on the verge of major expansion, with the data center market projected to experience significant growth by 2025. Now, this optimistic outlook, highlighted in the new report by Raxio Data Center Uganda, attributes this surge to rising cloud adoption and the growing impact of artificial intelligence, AI.
Uganda and Africa as a whole stand at a pivotal moment in its digital evolution. Data centers are no longer just for the backbone of internet and cloud services. They are now key powering sectors such as public services, finance, education, and healthcare. A recent study by Rastio Data Center indicates that the sector's significant growth over the past 3 years, with projections indicating continued expansion between 2025 and 2031. This trend aligns with global patterns where increased cloud adoption, fueling a greater demand for data center capacity, storage solutions, and co-location services across various scales.
Previously, we divide them into enterprise and commercial. And enterprise means UBC has its own data center for its own things, for its own equipment. MTN has its own data center for its own equipment. I believe there would be more opportunity for us presented to us if we had facilities like this that are non-enterprise.
The report positions data centers as crucial enablers of long-term transformation, particularly as Uganda anticipates increased climate volatility and a surge in data demands from key sectors such as Finch telecommunications and the public sector. The report further identifies small and medium enterprises, large enterprises, and government entities as primary drivers of this growth. Furthermore, the report underscores the transformative impact of AI and big data on infrastructure demands.
Because of the increased or the heightened the increment of the potential of cybersecurity attacks, there is need for more protection. There's need for more organizations that are more aware about how data can be compromised. And I'd say for not having the actual knowledge of how they can be compromised. So you you get an email, you click on it, all your data is gone. Or someone calls you and asks for your mobile PIN and everything is gone. So there's a huge area about literacy because we need to be more on guard as the way we appear online should be the way we appear physically within spaces that require security.
These trends were observing in Uganda and in line with global technological advancements, positioning the country at the forefront of technology adoption in the region.
The Grain Council of Uganda is striving to strengthen partnership with agro-processing machine manufacturers to ensure that people involved in the maize milling business acquire modern milling machines. The Executive Director of the Grain Council of Uganda, Yoweri Museveni, points out that the aim is to ensure that consumers get good quality maize flour free impurities.
Statistics from the East African Grain Council show that Uganda produces approximately 5.5 million metric tons of grain annually. According to the Grain Council of Uganda, local millers play a pivotal role in the grain value chain as they purchase 3.5 million tons of the grain produced. The Grain Council of Uganda is now working with agro-processing machine manufacturers to ensure that the people involved in the maize milling business acquire modern milling machines. The aim is to ensure that consumers get high-quality flour free from impurities.
We've come up with aflatoxin testing equipment that we have in stock, and these we've supplied to a few millers here and there, but I must admit that the uptake has been a bit slow for reasons that I don't understand. But also again, aflatoxin testing equipment is a post-mortem process. We should ideally be looking at how to prevent aflatoxin. And the best way to do that would be to have proper storage facilities, using silos, for example. We have silos that can store as little as 500 metric tons per hour. That could be a good entry point.
Our members to acquire the standard for stored grain, to make sure that their warehouses meet minimum standards as stipulated by UNBS. There's a standard for warehouses, and we are encouraging our members to acquire that standard also. Many of them already have.
Players in the milling business will also be brought together in the Millers Summit on the 20th of May 2025 to discuss the industry challenges and avenues to improve on standards.
Trying to introduce millers to new, safe and power-efficient milling technology. This is something that you should not miss. As I said earlier, we have been scorched for that we are using dual-carry machines. People say that these machines break, they end up in the flour. So with this intervention, we can assure you whoever embraces it, that will be all history. We also target insights into safe and efficient grain handling.
Regulating standards for the grain millers is key in improving the nutritional values of the population, preventing micronutrient deficiencies, and ensuring food safety. Adia Nakuti, UBC.
Techno and MTN. Together, our flash snap is unstoppable. Grab the Techno Camon 40 series and get free 9 GB of MTN data valid for 3 months. Don't wait. Get your Techno Camon 40 today at Techno stores and MTN outlets. MTN is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Africa is rising. A continent rich in potential, powered by a new generation of visionaries. From cutting-edge technologies to transformative industries, Africa is shaping its own future. Bold, sustainable, and value-driven. Inspire Africa Group welcomes you to the first Africa Business Forum, which will be held at Africa Coffee Park under the theme Innovation, Industrialization, and Value Addition on the 23rd of May 2025. The chief guest will be His Excellency Yoweri Museveni, President of Uganda, and His Excellency Dr. Samoei William Ruto, President of Kenya. Come, engage with the key policymakers, forge strategic partnerships, and unlock new markets. Join us as we reshape Africa's economic future.
Special announcement from the Baseline Education Census 2025. The Uganda Bureau of Statistics, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education and Sports, is conducting the Baseline Education Census 2025. This exercise will cover all learning institutions in the country for both government and private establishments, namely pre-primary, primary, secondary, vocational, and higher institutions of learning. The Baseline Education Census exercise data collection is being conducted in a phased manner, starting with Greater Kampala Metropolitan Area, comprising of districts of Kampala, Mukono, and Wakiso. The rollout to all other regions will commence at the beginning of second term. The Baseline Education Census collects information on learners, teachers, and school facilities to facilitate planning and policy decisions in the education sector. Uganda Bureau of Statistics appeals to the general public, heads of schools and institutions, as well as the local government authorities to cooperate with the BEC enumerators. In a special way, UBOS appeals to all parents of the learners to support the exercise by availing learners with their correct date of birth, national identification number, and learner's identification number. For more information, please call 0772 933 628 or 0743 787 189 from Dr. Chris Mukiza, Executive Director.
Ennaku 3 ez'omuziki enseko n'okuzuula nga weetooloddwa obulungi bw'obutonde nga kw'otadde n'abayimbi abasingayo mu Africa. Sina ate onyumirwa obulamu mu kujaguza obuwangwa bwa Africa obujjuvu ng'obutonde bwe bukuzza obujja. Tukwaniriza mu Milege. Jaguzanga bw'onyumirwa obulamu, omuziki, sinema, ebyokulya, engero n'emboozi. Milege World Music Festival 2025 okuvanga 6 paka 8 mu mwezi gw'omukaaga ku Botanical Gardens Entebbe. Okugula tiketi nyiga *165 2 londako Milege World Music Festival 2025 ogoberere endagiriro. Oba kuba ku noti 752833 oba tukyalire ku website yaffe www.milege.org. Biwagiddwa Entebbe Municipal Council, Uganda Wildlife Education Center, Uganda Wildlife Authority, Civil Aviation Authority, Uganda Tourism Board, Rock Telcom, Ovidian Uganda, 106.5 Energy Radio, Protea Hotel Entebbe, and UBC.
This May 24th is the grand finale of the Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo 2025. Festival Day at Speak Resort Munyonyo. Experience a vibrant mix of music, dance, fashion, art, a fun-filled kids section, and an epic boat regatta on Lake Victoria. Live on stage, Luthri, Winnie Nwaji, Abeka Band, Otim Alpha, Sunabed, Shilaga Shumba, Salvador, Alideki Brian, Crane Performers, and more. General tickets go for 20k and VIP for 50k. Get yours now at tagticketing.com. For what a festival day. Celebrate culture, celebrate Uganda. Don't miss it.
Welcome back from that break, and now into the world of business. Sasakawa Africa Association intends to extend agricultural extension services to communities in a bid to improve crop yields through systematic advocacies. Now, while engaging with partners in the farming industry, the Commissioner for Crop Production and Agriculture Inspection emphasized the use of mechanized systems to improve commercialized crops to support the economy of the farmers.
The Sasakawa Africa Association aims to enhance agricultural development and transformative change among smallholder farmers through innovation and practical field-level models.
Our role as Sasakawa is to bring that technology closer to the farmer, and he or she will, alongside the government's money, will do what we call grants and commercial financing. They unlock part as grants and get commercial financing from the financial institution. Yes, money is there, but we must find ways of sorting that money and going beyond that.
The Commissioner for Crop Production and Agriculture Inspection emphasized the need to empower community liaison officers to encourage great crop yields.
So these community-based facilitators, one, will guide the farmers on which enterprise to select. Number two, they will guide the farmer on how to raise, if it is an animal, on how to plant, on how to harvest, up to marketing, and also help the farmers on issues of quality and issues of marketing. So they are working closely with the farmer.
To improve the livelihood of smallholder farmers, access to essential agricultural services and inputs has to be enabled for these farmers to transition from subsistence agriculture to more commercial practices.
Our way of operation is not to do handouts anymore. We are trying to get a financial institution to finance this equipment. The equipment being given to them can pay back within one season. So it's just a matter of linking the youths to gain access for the equipment, and they pay back. We want to move away from handouts. It doesn't sustain, and there's no ownership in it. We want them to own the process, and owning the process means contributing to it.
Government remains committed to supporting the smallholder farmer communities, especially through projects designed to improve the socio-economic conditions of these farmers.
As we, privately, we may not have that capacity financially. So if the government comes in and equipped or push on with us, I believe that everything will move on efficiently as far as agriculture is concerned.
Let us not see agriculture as a problem to be solved, but a business to be grown. Let us mobilize youth not as beneficiaries, but as entrepreneurs and job creators.
The Ministry of Agriculture commends Sasakawa Africa Association operation and its collaboration with local government extension workers. This initiative aims to enhance agricultural sustainability and resilience. Komagum Rogers for UBC.
Thank you, Komagum Rogers. Now more in business. In Busiro County, Miss Tourism is redefining beauty by celebrating cultural pride of her appearance. Now with vibrant traditions like clan, genealogy and bark cloth attire and strong community support, the event now stands as Uganda's top county-level cultural tourism showcase.
Organizers showcased Uganda's traditional bark cloth dress, a garment made from a tree bark. This lady is the driving force behind Miss Tourism Busiro. Her unwavering dedication and hard work have elevated the competition to become the most prominent at the county level. Entebbe Mayor Fabrice Lulinda emphasized the cultural values in development.
You need help, My door is open. Karibu, education. Can you show responsible living? That is the only way we will promote our culture. So if I met the king of Uganda, I would ask him that we go back to the grassroots.
The organizers, including UBC's head of library and archives, Dean Chibirige, were awarded certificates. Tension peaked during the judge's announcement.
And into the world of sports, it's been joy unequaled as Budo Senior Secondary School football team returned home after triumphing at the 2025 Uganda Secondary Schools Sports Association football tournament in Ngora. The team returned to a hero's welcome, joined by revelers along the Masaka Road. Take a look.
While receiving the victorious team at Budo Senior School, Director Lauryn Masika attributed that success to discipline and superior tactical execution throughout the tournament.
In the National Secondary School Football Tournament, which we won yesterday, we have celebrated today the victory, and now we qualified to represent the Ugandan schools in the East African Games. So this year, we are going to be in the East African Games, and we feel very happy. So our assignment now, we are getting down, we are settling down to see how to organize our teams to make sure that we compete and also win the East African Trophy.
Games and sports teacher Gaba Ronald assured Ugandans that the team is committed to making Uganda proud once again when they represent Uganda at the East African Secondary School Games in Kenya this coming August 2025.
What I can promise Ugandans is that being champions of Uganda National, we are promising the entire country that we have played against best teams in Uganda, which I believe are better than other East African teams. So we are promising victory, and come August we shall come back with the East African Trophy.
Team captain Balasa Dixon credited divine intervention for their win against St. Mary's Chitende SS, where they triumphed 6-5 penalties following a goalless draw after 90 minutes of regulation time.
Talk about what was there happening, and it was so hard on our side. It was not easy, but we managed to win this trophy. Thank you so much for supporting us.
Meanwhile, King's College Budo claimed the rugby championship title after narrowly defeating Namiyango College with a 14-13 scoreline in Ngora District. They will also represent Uganda in rugby at the East African Games in Kenya later this year. Having been named the best rugby team in the Wakiso zone, King's College Budo has vowed to bring home another trophy from the regional tournament. Shaidat Nasaku.
And with that, we'd like to thank you so much for your company this evening. On behalf of the team that works tirelessly behind the scenes and myself, would like to wish you a good night and God bless.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.